I'm back. Hey, everybody. Hope everyone's okay. How we be? Hi, everyone. Big sigh. Hi, guys. Big sigh. While you guys are popping on, ooh, I'm kind of putting things away over here a little bit. Not really, but you know, I'm okay. Plugging away on deadlines over here. Glad you guys like the demos. I appreciate it. It does make it worth it. Anybody, anything exciting happening? Any news? Anything? Welcome. Glad to have you guys. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the big brushes, and this was a request. Somebody was asking about uses for the big brushes, and so let me just clarify what I'm talking about. In January, we released these 3 brushes here. So these 2 come in one set. So there's 2 in the package, because this is the package available right now. And what I realized after this came out is that I left off one of my most used brush shapes of all time, which is this sort of, I don't even know if it's a probably a half-inch flat, right? So I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I ended up, so I luckily they let me bring it back. So that's why there's a little one in with the big ones. And so these 2 come together, so this is an 1.5 inches, and then this is a 2-inch flat. And what I enjoy about them is they really do well with my ADD. So basically everything that you normally do with a smaller brush, try going up a couple of sizes, because it's going to change your line. And if you've been in class with me before, you know that I talk for a long time about the importance of line, and that lines communicate information, right? And so even a brush stroke, it makes a line. So when your line's bigger, you're just going to be able to get a different look. You're also going to be able to cover more real estate in a short amount of time. Sometimes I'll have people, okay, now everybody paint this, paint this, or everybody gesso your page, and I'll walk over and there'll be people gessoing with brushes this size. And that always cracks me up, because that is just going to take forever. So a big brush will help you get more, is more efficient in a way. In a big brush, like I said, it's going to change your line. It's going to change your brush stroke. So I talk about this all the time, but a couple years ago, I took a class with Bob Burridge, Burridge, at the Sedona Art Center. And he was saying that a lot of us artists in general use brushes that are too small. And it just cracked me up, because I do like using larger brushes. And he even kind of got into an argument with a lady. Well, not an argument, but he was questioning why she was using these really tiny detail brushes. And she finally said, well, I like to do polka dots. But, his point is, if you want to have a more expressive style, then you gotta change your brush size. You've gotta bump your brush size up. Another thing that he does is that he takes dowels. He buys brushes that are really long. So, for example, this is a brush from the art store. It's a lot longer than So this was the original length of my brushes, and everybody whined about the length of these brushes. Why are they so long? And I hate big brushes. And anyway, so Ranger needed to discontinue these because of sales. So that's why the brushes have shorter handles now. Well, look how much longer this art store brush is compared to how long my original brushes were. And so I always felt kind of defensive about those original brushes because I still love a long brush. Because if you hold your brush by the end, you lose some control at the bristle end, which makes your end work more expressive. And so Bob Burridge would buy these brushes from the art store and then still extend them with dowels and duct tape. So he would just make them incredibly long. So I used to crack up that people were whining about the long original brushes when you could go to the art store and they're so much they're so much longer. I would love to have the long handles back, but maybe we should organize a writing campaign. When one of my long ones die, I'm still sad. We did make the handles of the new big brushes a little bit longer than this set here. Just a tad. So anyway, the nice thing about a long handle is you can still hold the brush low. So if the handle is long, you can still use it like a short brush, right? But anywho, can you tell I'm a little bitter? Not bitter. I'm a little sad about the handle issue. All right, so a couple, like I said, advantages of the big brushes. Number one, efficiency. You can cover more. It's going to change your brush stroke. It's going to change your line. And it's just going to feel different in your hand. So everything that you normally do with a smaller brush, it's going to work with the bigger one. You're just going to get a different effect. So they're really, really fun to play with. Another thing that you can't do with a small brush, but you can do with the big brush, is to really load tons of colors on a single brush stroke. I'm going to show you how I did this too in a second. So if I forget this, will you remind me? Because I did this with the big brushes. So I love to start these abstracts and start backgrounds with multiple colors. And so I put out magenta, I put out a drop of ocean. Let's put out a little bit of yellow. That's a triad, which means I could end up with a lot of brown here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet my brush, and then I'm going to pick up all three colors, and then create just the coolest brush strokes ever. So, you know, instead of having to put the colors on 3 times, I can get interesting effects swiped on with a single stroke. That is a gessoed page in the blue journal. And then what I'll do is I'll start tons of backgrounds with this combination until it starts to muddy. So there's another. I mean, not rocket science, right? So I'm starting to get mud a little tad, but it's still workable. Okay, so I'll mess around with that. You know, you all know I love to do these weird sketchy faces. So they change a lot when you use the large brush. They just really become, well, more like blobs. Let me find my paper, guys. I actually think I used an entire pad of paper the other day. Yeah, this is a Dilutions journal. This was my cover piece for her journal, or for her designer challenge. That was the one that I did on her journal cover. I'm going to just mess around with this page today because I can't really find my watercolor paper. Yeah, all the pages that I just did were gessoed. This is a Dilutions journal that is not gessoed. Okay. Let's see if I can get this in the shot there. All right. So this way I can flip these and go really fast. Some black paint. So black paint, big chubby brush, 2-inch brush. And I'm going to make an abstract face. So I like to do one pass, and then I'm going to come back and kind of wipe my brush off and do a few other passes. And because these brushes are not going to lend themselves to fine detail, there's just, you get what you get, right? Okay, let's do another one. I'm just going to rip this out. How is this possible? You just make, you know what? So much of it is not even skill. It's, just like, well, let's try that, and then kind of being at peace with how it ends up, and not being so hard on yourself that it doesn't look a certain way, especially when you're just messing around with. Sometimes they turn out better than others. This one's a good serial killer. I'm using the flat and the flat edge at times, and I'm also using the corners at times. Just depends on the brush stroke that you want, right? So it's fun because after you do something crazy like that, if you want to zhuzh it up, come back with your scribble sticks. We did a basic face proportion video already. You can easily go back to the archives and watch that. This is just all of that content done with a bigger brush. Ooh, that brush still has a lot of black paint on it. La, 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 la. Get some of that off. Switch to the other one. You guys, I don't do anything that's not easy. I've just done it a lot, and I just don't care how it turns out, right? I'm not that invested in the outcome. It really does come down to your art attitude. Because I'm not invested in outcomes, it lends itself to this sort of free free play. So then use your scribble sticks, your pencils to crisp it up. So, and how many of these will I do? The answer is yes. Ooh, that's cool because I just got there's so much paint on there that it totally gave me some drips and blobs. So I'm dipping the scribble stick in the water because this is still quite wet. So wet paint requires a wet stick. Diane's paper is so good for taking ink. It does not want to dissolve my scribble sticks very well, which is fine because I didn't gesso it. You know, that I really dig this crazy one. I know some of you are probably like, oh my gosh. But when I'm done, what do I do with them? They get stuffed in a drawer. I've been packaging some of them up to sell as well. I have a whole pile that are already packaged. Huh. Oh, it turned out cool. All right, get the idea, right? And then everything that you create, if you use the larger brush, again, a more expressive stroke. So, oh. So if I So just a few brush strokes will make a flower, right? The other thing, if you have my large journal, you definitely need the big brush because that's a lot of real estate to cover, and so the large brush I think makes painting in the large journal so much easier. Personally, that's just my personal opinion. But even with the small, if you've got that little small journal, you can like cover a page in 2 brush strokes, which is nice. It's kind of like a fun artistic challenge to take your brush, pick the brush you would normally use, and then go up. Am I using this one? I'm not using dry, so it's been wet. So again, more just an expressive line. These big brushes are gonna really make your lines so expressive and cool. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm gonna move this journal. And so this is the kind of thing that I was talking about, using more than one color, right? Okay, so here's another idea. This is gessoed, it looks like. This is a piece of 300-pound watercolor paper. And what's nice with my water being tinted black, when I put the water on this, you're going to be able to see it. Sorry, it looks like there's questions I might need to go back and answer. So Kay, with your details, you're going to start this, and then you're going to, you can add your details later. I just, if you need to clean gesso out of a brush, I just rinse it. I mean, I don't do anything special for gesso, but I've usually let them sit in the water forever, and then I just rinse. I don't even use soap. But if you have a dried brush, like Sue says, Murphy's oil soap will totally clean that up for you. That paper I was just using was a Dilutions journal. It really doesn't matter what paper you use, you guys. It just, you know, I get a lot of questions about specifics, and I'm happy to tell you what I'm using, but I promise, use what you have. This is watercolor paper. I use my journals. I use, you know, yes, the answer is yes. I use cardstock. You name it, I use it. Okay, so I'm going to take my big fat brush with just some dirty water on it, and it looks like some color because I didn't clean it. Actually, I'm just going to do circles because I don't have enough room to write a word. No, I didn't do my nails. I don't do them every day. I do them about once a week. And because these are a gel, they're a dip nail, so like an acrylic powder, I just soak them off with acetone. All right, so there's my watery circles. Now I'm going to take gloss spray, and I'm just going to pour it in the water. If you don't want to open your gloss spray and pour it in, you can also use watered, we can also use acrylic. So if I take my acrylic and add a lot of water, you want it to be nice and fluid like the gloss spray, you can also drop your watered down acrylic into the puddles that you just made. Let's see. And so then the puddles that you made will draw the pigment into the puddly area, and the pigment will follow around, right? Just kind of like when you do wet on wet watercolor. And it creates some really cool coloration. And then when it's dry, it's going to look like it's going to look like that. So I did this by writing the word art with water, and then just pouring gloss spray into the puddle. Where can you find it? This one is gessoed. This one is not. It doesn't matter. I mean, it just depends. But there's so much water on there. I mean, try it on both. All right, I'm just going to move this. The brand, it's my gloss spray. So it's Dina Wakely Media gloss spray. It came out in January. It's absolutely awesome. And you can get the big brushes at any of the retailers that have grabbed my product. If there's any retailers on watching, you're welcome to pimp your store. There, I know you can try Everything Scrapbook and Stamps in Florida, Scrappy Chic in Michigan, Paper Craft Clubhouse in Connecticut, Queen's Ink in Baltimore, Valley Stamp and Scraps in Wisconsin, Courtney Scrapbook and Memories in Missouri. You've got Runaway in Oregon. You have Crafty Scrapper and Scrap Shack in Texas. You have, I'm just naming stores that I can think of off the top of my head. I know I'm missing some, and it's not on purpose. Creative Island, Creative Escape. Canada, you can do Scrapbook Central, Clipper Street, and also Scrap Addict. There are 12 colors of gloss spray right now, with more to come. Simple Pleasures, yes, in Colorado Springs. Thank you. So I'm just kind of racking my brain thinking, okay, where have I been lately? So yes, there's lots of stores out there that are Impress. Yes, Impress in Seattle. All of these stores are happy and willing to ship to you. Okay. Yeah, please pimp your store. Please pimp it. Please, 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 please. Art from the Heart in the UK. Thank you. Yes. I'm a believer. All right, so let's do that again. This time I'm going to use my journal. This will not be gessoed because I just haven't gessoed back this far yet. And I'm going to use the smaller big brush, the 1.5 inch, and I'll make a face. California, you have, yeah, there's Dixon. There's one in Dixon. She's been posting. There's Creative Escape in, what do you call it? Yeah, Paper Parachute. What's the one in, I can't remember. In India, listen, I don't release products. It's stores in India need to buy my products. Right? Oh, paper, thank you. Calgary, yes. So it's my products are worldwide. It's just whether or not the stores order them. Okay? All right. Oh, Caprice, you're going to die when you see the new colors. We were even thinking, do we need gloss spray in the pastels? Do we really, does this really need to be there? And then we sprayed them, and it's all about Scrapbook and Dixon, thank you. When I sprayed them, both Kathy from Ranger and I were like, oh yes, we definitely need the gloss spray in the pastels. And you guys are going to die. You guys are going to die. Anyway, there's so many great stores. Please, if I've forgotten a store, it's not on purpose. It's just because I have a pea brain. I believe in all the stores. If you are out there with a store, it's so hard. So let's keep them open. All right. So let's really wet brush here. I'm going to do a funky, see if I can get a face done. If you do it and your puddle's dry, you might need to do it in stages, right? So I'm going to do that one in stages, I think. Oh, hello. That was a big pour. We're just going to go ahead and paint that eye with that. The new colors, we're not sure. Here's the dealio. We're with the current economic conditions, we're just worried. We just don't know when to release things. So, hi Nat. So a lot of this stuff is in the pipe. Okay, it's in the pipe, and the release date's going to be determined depending on industry. If that makes sense. This poor person is wearing a bandage from a nose job. Right? I'm still laughing that I poured so much spray on there that it turned into a weird mark. So the difference between you guys, you guys that care about how your art turns out, and me who doesn't care, I'll just be like, oh well, let's just, the whole side of that face is going to be a nice tint. There we go. No problem. Like I said, I always have a million ways to fix things because I do so many things wrong. Yeah, you can use a pipette. Absolutely. I mean, and this is going to be imperfect and imprecise because just the nature of making those big marks. And then this area here, isn't that going to be perfect for journaling later? It's going to be... I kind of dig it. Giant-eyed scary lady. Yeah, exactly, Caroline. You can write on the blue side. Collage. Yeah, I mean, just lower your stand. If y'all just lower your standards, you'll have way more fun. I promise. So as these dry too, they're going to start to look a lot more integrated. So these are the ones from earlier. See how as they dry, they start to look less blobby and more expressive. Come back to this one. Yeah, poor baby. This guy had a nose job, right? And so now I've got this deliciousness to play with, and I still had some gloss spray in that brush, so might as well wipe it on there. Got a scribble stick sitting here in front of me. Might as well wipe it on there. That's how I make a lot of my decisions, with what is right in front of me. This is still pretty wet. You really shouldn't stencil on stuff this wet. Oops, oh well. Perfect. Play it on that one, move to the next. All right, I'm bringing Crazy Lady back. She's already starting to dry, which is kind of cool. Set that aside. This is one that I did the other day with the big brush and some gloss spray, and then I wrote on it with a Sharpie. So the simplicity of it, I really, really like, right? It works for me really well. Go back to this one. Okay, I love that one. I love it. Look how good they look when they're dry. You guys have got it. You need that big brush, and you just got to do multicolors on everything and see what happens. I just think that's hecka cool. Yeah, it does look like she was crying. So one of my favorite things to do is to take these crazy faces. You just got to practice, Pamela. I like to take the crazy faces, and then I like to take the gloss. Oh, Dina. That is not what I like to do, but we're gonna make it work. So I pool the gloss spray, hopefully in more controlled drops than that. And start the tiers with the stem of your spray, because with the stem of your spray you can actually kind of control where it goes. If you just dump it straight flat out. Oh, do I ever add a hint of yeah, pink and yellow, Caroline, was acrylic paint. It was 3 colors of acrylic on a brush with one swipe, right? Okay, I'm seriously cracking myself up today. You know, some days, some days just end up like this. I think it kind of looks awesome, though. Oh, I'm just cracking myself up today, you guys. Let's do it. Now, if I try to do that on purpose, do you think I'm going to be able to? I don't even know how I'm getting it to just like flop out of the bottle that way. Oh, cracking myself up. Oh, Okay, this is the kind of thing that happens to me all the time at home, but not usually while I'm live streaming. Oh, but we're just gonna go with it. She's kind of cool. It is kind of brilliant. I think she... Oh, I'm just laughing so hard. Sorry, guys. All right, let's come back and bring her eye back to us. This is like my brain, y'all. Oh, so bloomin' funny. But these little additions really pump up the abstract expressionism of the pieces that you're painting with your big, big brush, right? Yeah, it works. I always say that I've made a whole career on spilling stuff, and and that is absolutely the truth. That, you know, I spill it and go, oh, that's what happened. Now what? The blackest pencil is the Stabilo All. Stabilo is the brand. ALL is the type of pencil. It writes on everything, including plastic, which is what acrylic paint is. Yeah, see, if you would have spilled it, you would have been like, oh, I ruined it. Whereas I'm like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Let's keep going. And now, you know, and then you end up making stuff that you wouldn't have made if you were trying so hard, right? Oh, and I think words on these guys are so necessary. I have got to come back and when this is dry, I'm gonna totally word these up because I think I need to write about my day on these. Oh, maybe I should not do anything else today. But unfortunately, when I have days like this, normally in the old days, I would just go to Marshall's. Oh, but today it's not gonna happen. Okay. I'll have to shop online, except I'm on a spending freeze. All right. Too funny. Didn't I do 3 of these? I must have turned the page at some point because I thought I did 3 like this. Super fun. But this is, I mean, that has everything I love in a background. Couple of colors, expressive strokes, variations because of the water and the thick paint. Just got here. Did you shoot those gals in the eye? I did shoot them in the eye. They've been shot in the eye with gloss spray. I know, we should all meet at Marshall's and then go to lunch. Let's do that. Where do you guys want to eat? I'll take you to La Piazza in downtown Glendale that has the best pizza. Seriously. Is there video on that gorgeous paper? So no, Pamela, this is just the paper. This paper here is in my journal. It's a 300-pound watercolor paper that's bound right into the journal. It's a heavy handmade paper. When this is all over, we seriously need to have a giant kumbaya moment. I know online shopping is dangerous. Right behind the other page. I really don't see it. I think it is in this journal, though. Huh. Don't know, you guys. I don't want to waste your time. All right, any questions? Yeah, I did it in 3 different journals. That's how I work. I work in many, many things at a time, and I have many different works in process. I'll have works on loose paper in process. I will have works in journals. I did it in 3 different journals, because that's what I prepped. I had 3 journals ready. Huh. All right, questions? Concerns? I mean, it's not, I guess it's not like revolutionary, but hopefully that gave you some things. So Pat, when to use a dry brush versus a wet brush? Depends how much transparency I want And it depends how, if I'm working on gesso or not gesso. With gesso, I love a dry brush. Love it, love it. With no gesso, it's hard for the paint to move around. So without gesso, I tend to use a bit of a wetter brush. Lizzie, I'm not an artist either, so I taught myself. Lizzie, we did a face demo in these daily demos. If you go back in the archives, here's how you access it. You are going to go to my Art of Dina Wakely Facebook page, which you're on right now. To the left, there's a menu, and then in that menu will be videos. Click on videos, and you can go back and watch that basic face drawing video. My desk is small. It's a small desk from IKEA. So when I put my journals to dry, where I put them is usually on the floor behind me, which is why I sometimes roll over them with an office chair. How do you create over a background that you love this much? How I create over backgrounds that I love, I know I can make more. It's kind of like that whole thing where I always say, well, they'll make more paper. You gotta do it. And I can make more backgrounds. One was a vertical swipe. Yeah. How much do you do straighten your journals, and how much do you do on individual sheets? The answer is yes. I don't know. Kim, you do not want a tour of my craft room. I have showed it in all of its messy glory, though it's improved a little bit because I did put some stuff away, but I don't know. You guys, my craft room's not tour worthy. It's messy. I haven't vacuumed the carpet in like 6 months. The carpet's dirty with cat fur and threads and paint bits and paper bits. It's disgusting. So anywho, you really don't need to see my studios, and it's not organized because I'm very disorganized with my physical stuff. I'm organized with my time in the sense that I do get my deadlines done, but other than that, yeah, that's a big fat no. So Laura, on the rainbow page, what would happen next is I would decide on focal point. So for focal points, do you remember what your choices are? You can draw, you can stamp, you can do a collage. So at that point, so today I probably would do nothing on this because I'm not feeling focal pointy today. But later I will come back and be paging through and be like, oh, there's that's already done. And I just got, I feel like using this stamp today. And then I will use that stamp, if that makes sense. So that's how it works. Do you have a rack in your studio to dry stuff? I do not have a rack. I have the floor, which is why my floor is disgusting. Yes, the big brushes really do give you a sense of play. And then they also, like I said, they kind of, if you want to be more expressive in your brush strokes and in your art, they amp that up. They amplify that. I am spontaneous. Do you need a lot of water to mix the acrylic paint with the gloss? Yes. Do you recommend a fine tip permanent black pen? Oh, can you? The only black pen I use is the Fude, and it really will be permanent when it's dry. It just takes a day to dry. Other than that, you need to use a paint pen. So like a Posca, Black Sharpie, paint pens. Lots of stores are shipping to Ohio. Many that have been mentioned in the video, so people can pop back up and mention those again. Thank you guys for joining me. So yeah, this is denim. The denim pages are one of the demos for this week. We'll play on that. Why does gesso help the paint move? So gesso's sealing the page. Gesso's taking all that raw paper, all of the different the grit of the paper, it's putting a plastic coating on it. So when you paint over gesso, you're putting acrylic paint on a coat of plastic, and it's not super slippery plastic. It's plastic that has some grit. We'll often say it has tooth, so it helps the paint stick. But the paint will move on gesso in ways that it will absolutely not move on unprimed paper. On unprimed paper, your paint's going to soak right in. On gesso, you have a lot more options. Yes, the larger brush is available now. Is the left side pretty big brush art journal on gesso? It is on gesso. This one is on gesso. I pre-gessoed those pages. Yes, Celestine, you do have to get in the mindset that not everything's perfect. The size of there's one big brush that is 2 inches wide. And then there's one that's 1.5. And so this big granddaddy is the 2-inch wide brush. Are you live at the same time every day? I am. You don't have to show us the floor. Oh, I'll show you all of it, but there's just nothing. At the end of this, I'll walk you around the studio if you want, but it's really not impressive, you guys. I mean, I'm happy to do it again. Yeah, I know a lot of people like to see my mess because then they show their husbands and tell them, yeah, look how messy this chick is. So, I get it. Yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Do your scribble sticks work differently than aquacolor crayons? Like, I don't know what brand of aquacolor crayons you're talking about. So probably, but yes and no. My sticks are wax free. We did a scribble stick demo, Gail. So if you go back to the archives, you will find the scribble stick demo where I talk a lot about them, and we use them for different things. Do you gesso all of your white journal pages? I would say I gesso 80% of them. No gesso for alcohol ink, but again, I'm not an alcohol ink person. I love it. I think it's hecka cool. It's just not my medium. I haven't played with it very much, so I'm not the right person for that. But I do not think you would gesso. It would work on gesso, but I don't think you need it. Glad to have you guys. What do you do with the material pages? So Kathleen, later in the week, it might even be tomorrow. I need to look at the schedule. I'm doing a demo on the denim pages, which would also apply to the other fabric pages. Did you mention how to access previous lives? Yes, so there's a few things you can do. First thing you can do is in this group, Art of Dina Wakely, you're going to go to look at the menu on the left when you're at the top of the page and click on videos. And the videos are all there. Also, they're all on my blog. So if you go to dinastamps.typepad.com or dinawakely.com and click on blog, you will see that. The art thing, yeah, the art, I showed you that already. That was, I painted that, remember I did use the big brush and I painted this with water. I did the word art with water and then I poured gloss spray into the puddles and that's how it ended up. A lot better than the demo that I did today. Imagine that. So I showed you that technique. And this is one of the ones that I had demoed with it, right? So remember I did these big circles with water and then I put acrylic paint and gloss spray in the puddles. So it's just a watercolor technique basically adapted for these acrylic techniques. Can you access the live that Diane and I did? No, it went away. So Instagram lives don't save and they don't, I didn't save it. It was like an hour and a half giggly conversation with Diane. We'll have to do it again. Thank you, Jill. Jillian, April 8th is denim, April 9th is gloss spray, April 10th, white on white tissue. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that chat was on Instagram. We've talked about doing it again though. And we didn't plan it. Yeah, these are donuts. Aren't they cool though? And when they're dry, how fun to work on top of those. So that was again the big brush with water. Make brush strokes with water and then dumping in the paint and then also spilling the gloss spray everywhere else you didn't mean to. That is the best part. Will you use the yellow that's running from the bottle on the table? Oh yeah, look at that. That's what happens when you don't put the lid back on things. Heck yeah, we'll use that. We'll start dumping things in there. Heck yeah. A spill is just an opportunity, y'all. Hello, this is a piece of gessoed watercolor paper, it looks like. Oh, it looks like I've been dyeing some tissue also. Nice. That's hilarious. There's black paint down there too. Sweet. Let me move this. Nice. So now I've got some already dyed. That's another way to, it's another technique for the day. Spill your stuff and then just be like, oh, sweet. Let's also, there we go. All better. Oh, Dina. Today I'm a hot mess, you guys. Wow. Most unprofessional I've ever been in a video. I apologize. I promise I'm not on drugs, but dang, maybe I should be. Hilarious. Hilarious. All right, last chance for questions. Make a caution sign. Yeah. Oops, oh well. All my favorite words apply. I'll never forget. Oh, let me do a video tour for you. I'll never forget posting a picture once of my paint, and somebody was like, "There's one of the paints that doesn't have a lid on it. It's freaking me out." And I hadn't even noticed that there was a paint in the pile with no lid on it, and it made me laugh and laugh because I was like, "Oh, I didn't know there was one with no lid. Huh? There you go." Just yeah. She's like, "My OCD is not letting me look at that picture." I'm like, "Okay, well." Just have to look away from the screen. All right, I'll quickly show you the mess of the studio again. It's not quite as bad as it was the other day, you guys, but still not great. All right, come with me. Where do I sell my art? Well, mostly on Facebook and Instagram. All right, so the desk is quite small, not big at all. Desk there. Here to my right is my pile of stuff. So stuff that I'm kind of currently playing with. And then over here is, see the office mat from Office Max? It is covered in paint because I throw stuff and I work. If I have a really large piece of paper that won't fit on my table, I work on the floor. So that is a big mess down there. This is a Tim Holtz cart, that new cart. Been putting stuff in it. And then bookshelves are up here. Bookshelves, bookshelves, bookshelves. And then crap. crap tucked in every cubby you can imagine. And then a cart here with brushes and paint. Drawers here, computer. This is my printer that I can print with really nice, what do you call, archival pigment inks so when I sell prints, if I ever get my rare in gear. Bills I need to pay, paper cutter, boxes I need to throw away. This is a new color laser printer I just bought. And then this is what I did recently. I pulled all that classroom paint out. I don't know if that cart's available yet. That's a question for Tim and Mario. So, closet is a hot mess with all kinds of crap. And then behind the door of the closet, that's where I stuffed all those large pieces of paper for now. And then, see, I have some room back here. I don't even know what's up there, you guys. I haven't touched those bins in forever, so I need to figure that out. Okay. So yeah, it's the smallest room in the house. It's not big. It's messy, but it's practical for me. And I don't know any other way to do it, really. What does the gloss spray look like? Do you mean the packaging, Jody? The packaging of the gloss spray is this. It's called Dina Wakely Media Gloss Spray. There is a gloss spray video, and then we're going to do gloss spray again and do tips and techniques. Oh, look, I have a pen floating in my water. Oh my gosh, heavens, heavens, heavens. Okay, you guys are awesome. Thanks for indulging my hot mess today. Holy cow. Appreciate you all. Talk to you soon. We'll see you tomorrow.